Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Developer Experience Office Hours. I am Chris Short, executive producer of OpenShift TV, and today I am joined by three of my fellow Red Hatters, Serena from the future, Nichols, Ryan Jarvinen, and Jay. I won't try and say your last name, but please start the introductions. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here. My full name is Javardhan. You can call me Jay. And I am working with Red Hat as a UI engineer in OpenShift, basically. And so it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
We're happy to have you. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm a developer advocate in Red Hat's OpenShift team. I'll be keeping an eye on questions in chat. And also, if you have future topics for this show that you'd like to see us address, definitely let us know in chat or otherwise, and we'd be happy to try to cover those topics as well. Or Q&A you have regarding this specific episode. I'll be helping wrangle those in chat. So definitely let us know if you have questions about anything we're covering today.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. And Serena.
Hey, everybody. Serena Nichols. I'm one of the developer tooling PMs focusing on OpenShift developer experience in the console. And so I'm glad you guys are all here. And Jay is one of our Epic owners, specifically, well, very frequently working on serverless features inside of the console. So we're really happy to have him here. And my dogs all say hello as well. So
I was going to say something. Serena has some dog duty to take care of today. So yes, if Serena disappears for any reason, that's because she's chasing a new dog. So yeah. All right. So
Jay, maybe you could start. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to kick everything off here, buddy?
Yes. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, all good there.
So Serena would like to start.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, today what we're going to do is we're going to demo some of the 4.7 features that we've added into the console. And then after that, if we have time, we're even going to start demoing some of the things that we're looking at that we've already completed development on that will be coming in post 4.7. So some really exciting stuff here. So I think Jay's got a couple of slides here just to, again, remind us on what serverless is, as well as on the next slide, introducing Knative. Oh, go ahead.
I forgot to say, remember folks, some of this stuff is future stuff. Some of this stuff is now stuff. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for saying that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so we're going to be talking about Knative, and then specifically with the console, when the OpenShift serverless operator is installed, we have the ability to get serverless features as well as eventing features. So this first feature that was added in 4.7, which is now available, we'll be able to see some things in the admin perspective. So I'll just hand over to Jay to demo what those features are.
Yeah, so I'd like to start with the first one. So this is the cluster, OpenShift cluster. And as you can see, I have the operators installed. That is Red Hat OpenShift Serverless 1.13, which is needed. And I also have Red Hat integration CamelK, which I'll be talking a bit later about. So the first feature goes here is we are now providing option for admin as well. In like admin perspective, as you can see, we have a serverless nav section, which has both the separate things like serving and eventing. If you click on that, it will list you all the services, revisions, and routes. And likewise, we have for eventing, which lists all the event sources, and it has all the features like filtering or searching, the brokers, the triggers, channels, subscription, and we even have ability to create from this. I mean, you can go ahead and create any of these, say for event sources. So that was about the first feature we have. So I think we should talk about the second one now.
Yeah, Jay, I was also going to say, you want to just remind people, if you go back into the developer perspective,
Yes,
that they can search for those elements and then add them to the navigation, because it's always a nice thing to do. So yeah, you need to go to dev. Yeah.
yes. So that's a
Thank
great
you.
feature, because many times when we are working, we would like to see something. For instance, I want to have my brokers handy. So I can just select on broker and say add to navigation. So this will be preserved here. At any point in time, we can come back and we can see the list of brokers available. So that was about this.
Awesome.
So you can have a number of navigations here.
Thanks, Jay, for showing that too. Even though that's an older feature, I think it's something that when people realize that it's there, it's pretty exciting for them. So it's a good thing to show.
Yes.
So the next piece, are you gonna look at the event source catalog?
Yes. So if you go to developer perspective, we have an option here under add. You can see the cards over here. You can go to either through catalog or event sources directly. So if you click on that, it lists all the sources. So the objective behind is to improve the user experience by providing a scalability, because event sources are growing, and we also support camel connectors. We call it camlets over here. So you can see like Jira, Salesforce, Telegram, Slack, all of these are like powered by Camel.
Nice.
And so, Jay, can you just go over, I don't remember specifically what happens as far as operators are concerned for this. Is there a specific operator we need to have installed in order to expose those?
Sorry, I missed that piece. So
Yeah.
Initially I spoke about the operator which I have installed. So that is Red Hat Integration Camel K 1.2.1 provided by Red Hat. So as a user, we need to have this operator installed, and we can also create integration platform. So whichever namespace you create this, you can see all the camlets over there or camel connectors over there listed. And you can also access to that from eventing perspective. I mean, just by clicking on event sources with one click.
All right. And again, just to kind of talk through this, if the camel, if that camel operator was not installed, you'd still have event sources, but we'd be limited to, what is it, 4 or 5 of them?
Yes, like API server source, container source, ping source, sync binding, and Kafka source if you have created the CR for that, which is provided by serverless operator itself, just to highlight. So you can see here Knative Kafka. So if you click on this, and if you enable it, the source, you can see it. So
I see. Okay, excellent. Thanks for walking through that. And I think also, just to kind of note the event source catalog, I think we mentioned some of this in previous office hours, but in 4.7, we've changed kind of the experience of our catalogs a little bit, trying to make things more consistent throughout the subcatalogs. So you could still get, when you go to the developer catalog, you'll see event sources inside the larger developer catalog, or you can directly go into the event source catalog and just see event sources. So the next piece, you're going to talk about channels and subscriptions.
Yes. So I think already in previous sessions or a couple of times we have seen about the different ways events or basically can be consumed. Like one way is direct connection, which is like source to service. And in this session, we'll be talking about channels and subscriptions. So that's a way where we can have multiple subscribers for different events coming through different sources. So as you can see in this particular diagram or this particular visualization, so let me take you to the topology view, what we call it. So this is the sample project which I have created. So if you guys can see over here, I have a channel which is in-memory channel, and I have 2 of the sources which are being synced to that. One is ping source and another one is camlet source. And then we have these 2 services which are receiving all the events coming through all of these sources. So in channel, we don't have mechanism for filter. So all the events emitted by these sources will be subscribed by these services over here. So this is a Knative service which I created, which basically print the logs emitted. So if you see over here, you can see hello channels. This is something being emitted through ping source. And I would like to add one thing to that. You can do all of these creations through GUI or through web console as well. So for instance, if I want to show you guys, I'll go ahead and click on channel. So you can see there is options. If you would have enabled Kafka channel, you can even see that. So I'll try to create a channel now. So we have our channel now. Next we need is event source. So I'll go to add flow. and which we have seen. I'll click on event sources. I'll say ping source. And if you click on this create, this is the new thing which we added. In 4.7, we have the ability for a user to switch between form and YAML section. So earlier that was not the case. So user is no more limited, and all the data, whatever they're typing here, will be preserved here. So I will say per second and sync it to in-memory channel. I will not have the app name, and I'll say create. So what this will do, it will sync the ping source to in-memory channel, and which can be visualized in topology as well. And let me quickly go ahead and create one more event source. So this time I'll go with API server source. Yes. So already I have created a cluster role bindings to watch the events and a service account associated. So I'll just select the service account here. We are calling it events SA, and there are different modes. As I'm going to watch events, I'll call it resource. And the API version for events will be v1 and kind will be event. And if we click on say create, you can see both of these sources are synced to in-memory channel. Now next we need is a service which we need to subscribe to. So I'll go ahead and I'll use container image. And this is one of the image which I use always frequently. So it's more like a logger service which prints the information going over there. So I'll call it channel display because that is what we are going to use or showcase. I'll call it 0. And we have to select Knative service as the option in resources because we are going to create a serverless application. And I'll click on create. So we have one of the service ready. Let it come up and let me go ahead and create the another service just to showcase that. So I'll go ahead to container image again. I'll use the same image which I used last time. And I'll call it channel display 1. And I'll select again Knative service. So as you can see, all of these operations are being performed through web console. No need to go to CLI if you don't like it much. And if you do, feel free to. So as you can see over here, we have our services up. So let me try to rearrange it. Yes, we have.
I'm also going to just type in here a little bit too, Jay, because the other thing that's kind of cool in 4.7 is that topology layout now persists too. So as you're rearranging things the next time you come back into this project, you don't lose that, which is awesome. So just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I think it will be useful for user to persist the layout. So now I'm going to create a subscription. So it's easy gestures. I just dragged and dropped on a service, and you can see that it is asking you for the name. If you want, you can modify it. I won't for this session. Yeah, and I'll use another one to connect to another service. So I have my in-memory channel being subscribed by 2 of the services, and soon you will see the container logs emitting the events or showing the events, whatever is being subscribed or by these services. So meanwhile, let me go ahead and show you that. Yes, as you can see, all of these cloud events are being provided here, or you can watch for. So based on this, the service could be anything, any real use case where you want to perform some action based on some cloud events. So that is what I wanted to showcase here. And as I told earlier, with channel, we can't do filter basically. So all the events emitted by this API server source where we are watching for events, or ping source, which is emitting on a basic some time interval. So all of these events are being listened by both of the services. So that was about channels and subscriptions. So anything to add, Sarina, or shall we go back to the slides?
No, I think that's great. You're going to go over brokers and triggers next too, right?
Yes. So in this slide,
maybe
I have visualization
awesome.
to demonstrate that. I mean, if it makes more sense here, yeah. So next is brokers and triggers. So the drawback, or how to call it, one of the benefit which we have with broker and triggers is like we have the ability to filter it out. So we can filter any of the cloud events based on whatever we want to. and or attributes or any of these things, which was not possible with channel. So this is how the visualization would look like. So let me take you back again to the project which I already created. So if you see over here, so this is a broker, and we have 3 of the event sources which are being synced to this broker, and then we have again 2 services. And if you notice this connector, we have this one perpendicular line over here. So this denotes the filter. If you click on this, you can see the filter. What is the filter I have applied over here? Like it's def.knative.sources.ping. So I wanted this service to only get basically events from ping source. So that's what it does. And for the other one, I don't have any filter. So it will still get all the events from all our different sources. So let me quickly show how we can create this through GUI again. So I'll go to admin perspective this time for change, and I will go to eventing. I'll select the project which I was showcasing earlier and create on broker. So this is what a simple broker would look like. I'll call it default and I'll hit create. So we have our broker created. If we go back to the topology view again, we should be able to see even broker over here. So we have our broker. Now next, what we'll try to do, we'll try to create a ping source again. Or better, I can, yep, let me create one. So I'll repeat the process what I did last time. So I'll go ahead and create on ping source. I'll say ping broker. So we are thinking of the broker, but still you have options to choose any of these things. So I'll continue with broker and I'll call it ping source 1. Yes. And schedule I need to give, I'll give per second. So I'll say create. So now I have my ping source ready. And just to show you guys, I mean, we can even point it to some other addressable object here with easy drag and drop if we want to. You can point it to IMC, or you can add it to a broker itself. So I'll go ahead and create another event source, that is API server source. So again, I'll use the same thing to watch for events. And I'll go for resource. As I'm watching for events, I'll select events SA, the service account which I already have created. And next thing is, say, hit create. So as you can see over here, as I pointed my ping source 1 to in-memory channel, so it is pointed to that. So let me bring, let me make a change, and this time make this ping source point to broker. So we did that, and yeah, it has updated. Yes. So next is again service. So quickly, I'll go ahead and repeat the process which I did last time, just so that you can visualize what is the difference. And I'm going to create again a Knative service. I'll call it broker display 0. And I'll quickly create one more. I'll call it broker display 1. And select Knative service. Now we have all of these things over here. We have 2 of the revisions, and we have our broker. So let me make it fit to the screen and keep the services on one side. Yes. And sorry, yeah. We have so many things in topology now. I don't want these options. Yes. So next, what I wanted to show you is like how to create a trigger. So we have our event sources, which is being synced to a broker, and with easy cases again, if you click on this and drop it to a service, you get an option to add a trigger. So as you can see, this is the trigger name, and we can provide the attribute here. I'll call it type, and value will be dev.knative.sources.ping. I wanted only ping source to be received by this service, so that's more like a filter here. I'll say add, and now I'll drag and drop another trigger to a different service. So I don't want any filter over here. So I'll do the add again, and as you can see, so we have everything set up. You have to wait for some time, and slowly we'll see the spots coming up the moment events are being received. And we can see in the log the filter happening only for this particular service, not for the other one. So,
EJ, I have a question for you.
yeah.
If the user didn't want to do drag and drop, is there ability to do like the right click or go to the actions menu for the broker?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't want to do drag and drop, you can do a right click and say add trigger, and you will get the same option. Like if I want to subscribe it to a different service now, I can do that right away.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
the same thing
And then,
can achieved with admin perspective as well. So just to highlight that, if you go to eventing, if you go to brokers, we have option to add trigger here as well.
okay. And then that would also be the same menu. Like if you're in topology and you have your
Yes.
broker selected, there's an actions menu on that right-hand side panel that would also allow you to do it from there as well, right?
Yes. So if you click on any of, I think you can see now the pods are up. So if I click on these logs, I should be able to see only the logs from the ping source, that is test hello. And if you go back to the other service, you should be able to see the logs from both the event sources. Wait, it's gearing up, I believe. Yeah. So, and if you click on this broker, you can see the details of the subscribers. Like, okay, these are the services, and you can click on show filter. It will show the filter over here. And yeah, likewise for channels as well. You can see all of these details in the sidebar inside navigation. And this action menu helps you to perform the same object things, whatever we can, on the right click on the context menu. So that was about the brokers, which I wanted to show. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me ask a couple other questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Could you go back to the ad page?
Yes.
So on the ad page, we have the ability, we have a tile to create channels, and we have, but we don't have the ability to create brokers from the ad page, correct?
Yes. Yes. So broker creation, till 4.7 is just through YAML currently. So that's the feature is provided in the admin side. But yeah, I think this is something we'll be working on. I think we'll be having it soon in AdFlow as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to also say, because you already added your broker's navigation item. So if you had that there, you could just go down on the, even in the dev side, right? And then you could use that create broker up there on the top right.
Yes. Yes.
If you wanted to create it from there. Okay. Okay, great. I just wanted to let people know that that still is, you can still create it from the UI, but it's just YAML forms right now. So one of the things that we've done an awful lot of work on in the last couple of releases and continue to do is trying to have form-driven experiences in addition to YAML-driven experiences, and we're just not there in all the spots yet. So, okay, and would you highlight as to why you would want to use the brokers over the triggers? I'm sorry, the brokers over the channels.
Yeah, so the main benefit I see of using broker over channels is the ability to filter it out. So assume that you have n number of event sources, be from Slack, Telegram, ping source, API server, or Kafka. And we have like 3 or 4 subscriber, different services listening to those. But as a user, or we have a use case where we only want a particular service to receive events only from, say, Kafka, not from other sources. So broker helps us with that to achieve that filtration logic with the ability to filter it out. So which is something like providing different attributes. Like one such thing I did here in this particular trigger, I added type for ping source. So what this means is this particular service will only receive events being emitted from ping source, not other sources which are being synced to this particular broker. So if you say add trigger, you have option to add multiple attributes over here.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Chris or Ryan, is there anything in the chat that you guys want to bring up around what Jay's demoed for 4.7 so far?
Yeah,
I-
there's.
Go ahead,
Chris. Oh, I'll take it then. All right.
you do
So
it, dude.
there's a couple of questions that popped up in chat. One that I'm going to butt in front of the line and ask from the ad view. You had. I'm going to throw my own question in. So when you did add, there was catalog, event source, and then channel. Is there a way to filter these to get just Knative things, or just I've seen in the past like a checkbox on the side of things that are only operators. Do we have anything like that to help filter what we're looking at?
So just on the ad page itself right now, it looks like a tile view. We are, just so you know, in the future, we are also going to redesign this so things are kind of more aligned with everything that's Knative based or pipeline based, et cetera. But I think Jay was just going to go into the catalog itself. When you go into the larger developer catalog, we do still have these subtypes on the left-hand side. The differences
okay.
in 4.7, well, I'm sorry, let me step back. Pre 4.7, we used to have checkboxes there that allowed you to see multiple types at once. Now, when you go to the developer catalog, you see all of them. If you want to drill in, you only see a single type.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
And when you're in the larger developer catalog, you just do still see those labels on each of the tiles that are indicating, is it a builder image or a Helm chart, event source, et cetera.
And there's event sources there. Okay, great. And
Yes. Yeah.
there was also, let's see, if I scroll back in chat a little bit, I saw OpenPixel had a question about what's the difference between Knative Kafka and AMQ streams?
Yeah. So the difference between Knative Kafka and AMQ streams is Knative Kafka will provide us with the Kafka channel and the Kafka source. But in turn, AMQ streams will help us to have the Kafka cluster setup, create the Bootstrap server, top Kafka topics, etc., so that Kafka source can consume that particular thing. So if that helps, yeah.
Yeah, that OpenPixel, definitely let us know if that doesn't cover that particular question. We had another one from OpenPixel saying that triggers are a basic Kubernetes resource, correct? Or is that a Knative resource?
So the triggers which I showed, that's a Knative resource. It's Knative triggers. And I think the question is there a way to trigger events from external source running outside of OpenShift, say database service on cloud? So again, I mean, to answer that, yeah, I think if it is a public URL which can be accessed, I'm not sure, but I think there is source for particularly that, just like we have for different sources, be it Twitter or any other thing. So I think that can be consumed. So I'm not very sure with that answer, like how it can be done if it is something external. But yeah, if we have external service which is addressable object, then that can be synced to in OpenShift. So what I mean is, if you go to developer perspective again, and if you go to any of the event sources or any of the scenarios, and we have the ability to sync URI. So if you notice over here, so it takes any valid URI. So this will be useful if we have any addressable entity, even if it is outside of cluster.
Awesome. So OpenPixel was asking a clarifying here. So he's imagine are Knative streams equal to Kafka, and then Knative Kafka equivalent to the integration into OpenShift? That doesn't sound quite right to me. I'm not sure about how to answer that one. Yeah, I think
I'm not sure about that one either. We might want to get more clarifying.
Yeah,
Talk to
AMQ
the app
streams.
services team.
yeah, we'd need to, I think, have folks from that team in there.
Yes, I think Kamis answered there. So basically, MQ streams is Red Hat separate version of StreamG Kafka. It's in that simple. StreamG Kafka is a community operator. So if I take you guys to the admin perspective again, and in the operator hub, you can see, I think StreamG will be something we'll be aware of. You can see this community version. So likewise, we have MQ streams. which is like productionized version from Red Hat. And if you wanted to try out Kafka source, so let me show you right away. Let me go to Knative eventing namespace and I'll try to create Knative Kafka. So if you click on create, you should see the option like channel if you want to enable it or source. So I'll enable it, and channel as well, I'll say enable it. I want Kafka channel to be there now as the default channel. And if I hit create, so it will bring in those CRDs basically over here. So it will take a bit to instantiate. And after that, under event sources, we should be able to see Kafka source, as well as under channels, we should be able to see Kafka channel. So let me go to, developer perspective. But still, with this, we still need to have AMQ streams or StreamG in order to have Bootstrap server or Knative or Kafka topics over here. So if I go to developer perspective now, under add flow, let me select, the namespace where I was in. If I select, say, event sources, we can see the Kafka source over here, which was not there earlier. So that was the CR which we created. And if you click on this, this is what I mean, Bootstrap server. So once we have a StreamG, we need to have a Kafka cluster setup. So this will provide us these URLs or the topics which we want to subscribe to or listen to, basically. So
thanks for going through that.
Yeah,
and I think Ben just answered one of the questions as well, right? In chat.
Yeah, thank you to all the red headers in chat right now, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
AMQ streams helps you deploy and manage Kafka clusters inside your OpenShift cluster. Okay. Nested clustering. Good stuff.
You know, and a few of these, like as Jay has showed, as soon as some of these operators are installed, we expose additional elements inside of the UI so that you can access the features for them, which is cool. Okay, so Jay, I wonder, is it time for us to flip over to the future? Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about or show, I guess, is one of the things that if you're creating a serverless function, it is visualized inside of the topology view, even though we don't currently have the way to create one inside of the console, right? So there's the ability to create them through the CLI, the Knative CLI. And I don't know if you were going to go over that or you're just going to show the visualization, Jay.
Yeah, so let me show you the visualization first, and maybe I can talk about the steps if someone wants to try it out. So, sorry, not this one, upcoming demo. So if you see over here, we have two Knative service. So one is powered by serverless functions. That's why we have this FX icon and a different background color. So this is the way you can identify anything is created through serverless function in topology. And if you wanted to create it, we can go to CLI and yes. So let me create a new project. I'll call it JTest12. So it's very simple to create. You can just save kn-func create node test, asynchrone I'll be using. So it basically creates a project here, node test. If you go to that and do code dot, it will open a VS Code for me. And just to showcase what it does, it creates an index.js, and we can see that we have a get and post, where it returns the query param and the payload. This is a simple thing it is trying to do. So let me go back to the CLI again, and I'll do kn deploy. So basically what it does, it tries to build this and deploy it into any of the registry. So I'm using Docker here. Sorry. So it is trying to build that thing and deploy it into the particular namespace. So it will take a while to do that. And let me meanwhile go back to the slides and I'll revisit this and show you guys in that namespace once it's up. So
The other thing we could do, Jay, if you don't mind, if you go back to topology view and just zoom in a little bit so people can see just a little bit closer the difference between that box on the left. So the background color for a for a serverless function is like a light purple, and then to the left of the Knative service badge, we're showing that FX icon. Like we mentioned, this is not in 4.7. This is not released yet. It's in the future. So that icon will likely change before we get this in the product, but it will be something similar to that to denote that it is a serverless function. And then if you look at the item, the box on the right, that's just our regular Knative service where it's a gray background, visualized similarly, but it has a gray background and has the Knative logo. And then I think we've also talked about, but we haven't figured out exactly what we're doing. If you select one of these items in the side panel, Jay, we talked about somehow, probably in the details tab there, denoting that it's a serverless function as well, right? But we haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah. And just to add, being Knative service, it has all the ability of a serverless Knative service, like traffic splitting, everything can be achieved. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I go back to my
Awesome.
CLI, I think function is deployed. So let me quickly validate this. If I go to JTest, as you can see, it is up. And if I click on this particular URL, it says query empty. I'll say name, let's do J, and let's do Swift. So it just does what I showed in the code. So it could be anything. Yeah. So I'll go back to the slide again.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so the next piece is we've added a couple of extra advanced scaling options for the Knative service. So are we able to show that in an edit as well as in a create, Jay?
Yes.
So maybe we just demo the edit piece, maybe.
Yeah, makes sense. So let me go to back to the serverless functions which I created. So if you do right click and say edit node test, it will take you back to the edit flow, and you have this option over here like scaling. So if you click on that, we can see a lot of options over here talking about auto scale window, contextualization, and all of these pieces. So as we are editing it, so it is not populating the default values because nothing was provided in the beginning by user. But if you are going to create a new one, so just to showcase in container image, we even populate the default value what is there currently. So if I select Knative service now, and I click on scaling, we can see that 60 seconds is the auto scale window. So you can change it to minutes hour, it goes till 1 hour. So these options you can configure. You can set up concurrency utilization, limit, target, and min and max pod, which we already had. So all of these capabilities are there.
Excellent.
So anything you would like to highlight, Serena? Yeah.
I was just going to say, no, that's great. So now we have the ability to do that upon creation or even after on an edit if you want to make those changes. So, and that gives us some consistency with the support level in the CLI now, which we didn't have in 4.6. Right. We didn't mention here, like what version of the OpenShift serverless are we using?
So we are currently into 1.13 of OpenShift serverless.
Awesome. Okay, great. And then I think there's one other feature that you guys have been working on and on the dev side as well, right? Around Knatifying something, as some of us like to call it. So again, just to make sure people know this is not 4.7, this is going to be something in the future. But maybe you can talk about that one as well.
Yes. So the purpose or idea behind this is assume that I have a workload and I'm new to Knative world and I want to try it out with my workload, be it deployment or deployment config. So I'll quickly go ahead and create a deployment. I'll use basic simple hello OpenShift image. And if you click on create, it basically creates the deployment for us. So once the deployment is running, we'll see an option to migrate it to a Knative service. So let me take you back to the slide just to demonstrate. If you talk in the YAML thing, it's something like this. So when we create a deployment, we have to create service, route if you want to space, and a lot of those things. So with Knative service, it's just small. Even with the YAML, I mean, we see a lot of, how to call it, reduce in the specs in the YAML. But now with a web console, with an easy click, you should be able to achieve that. So I think it's taking some time to come up. Yeah, containers creating. So if you click on this, we can see create Knative service over here. So this option is shown across in all the context menu or action items. If you click on this, it takes us to the new view where it shows that, okay, this is the image we are trying to use, which was part of the deployment. And we have the ability to, again, tweak any of the advanced options, whatever is being shown over here, be it health checks, scaling, resource limit, etc. Or you can just choose to ignore it. So with one simple click, we should be able to have our Knative service out of the deployment as well, which user can try it out. So this was the deployment, and we are not deleting the deployment at this stage. Yeah. So it will take a minute, I guess, a few seconds, not a minute, sorry. And yes, it is up.
Even if it takes a few minutes, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So and if you see what Hello OpenShift is, it's nothing but Hello OpenShift. So let me quickly go and show you Knative service. Yes, it's up and running. And it has all the ability of a Knative service, traffic splitting, scaling, and all of the other features which it offers.
So yeah, this is awesome. So just to mention too, like we said, this is future. Right now, we're calling it Create Knative Service. We're going to be doing some, I think, validation if that's really the name. So things might change by the time that comes out. But this is definitely a feature that people have asked, like, how are we able to take an existing service and make it be serverless? So I think this is like really interesting work that the dev team is doing and has started off on. So it's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing all this, Jay. Looks really good. And again, in chat, like we'd love to hear any of the comments and what you're seeing in 4.7, as well as some of the works that we're doing post 4.7. Please, let us know what you think. And Jay, I think you had another slide there.
I think we are done with the slides.
Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome. So is there any other questions in chat?
Oh, I'm sure there is. Let me backtrack real quick.
All righty.
Can you see the nodes view in 4.7? I have an issue with the formatting of the table in my cluster on 4.7.0. Sometimes loads correctly, sometimes the rows get misplaced. Ooh, just in nodes view though. That's weird.
Interesting. I think, Jay, you're running like a not homegrown, but you're running like a post 4.7 version. So you could still try, but I'm not sure if it's going to look exactly like what people would see on 4.7.
Be Kind asks, what is the roadmap for OpenShift serverless functions component? Services and eventing are mature, but what about designing and deploying functions like in OpenWhisk or other, functions as a service type thing?
Yeah, I think we need to pull in Karina or Nina, the PMs that are aligned with OpenShift serverless itself. I don't have that information. I'm not sure if any other Red Hatters that are on chat might have that.
Yeah,
but I don't have that right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't either. So maybe, Ryan, blah, he did it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure on that one. I know we used to have a way of running OpenWhisk directly. I'm not sure if there was an operator or a template or something, but if you search for OpenShift and OpenWhisk, you might still find examples. I think that was back in the OpenShift 3 era though. And a lot of our functionality for serverless is now basically covered by Knative from my understanding. I'm not 100% certain on that, and I'd be happy to defer to other folks, but yeah, I think Knative and Camel K is kind of the future for the kind of cloud native community that's building directly on Kubernetes. I don't think OpenWhisk had anything specific to Kubernetes. Like it wasn't built out of CRDs, or I don't think it ran on the control plane in the same way that Knative does. So Knative gives you a little bit tighter integration and more community support around Kubernetes, focusing on Kubernetes.
I'm answering a long question in chat. So let's just talk about it. Are the features demonstrated part of open source Knative, and the console and developer experience is OpenShift value add ? I'm thinking they're asking like, where does open source start and OpenShift begin? You know.
They might, yeah, and they also might be asking specifically on that create Knative service, because that's not something that's part of. And Jay, maybe you could also explain like the implementation of that create Knative service. That's not something that's an API that's that was provided by the Knative
Yes.
Community, correct?
Yes. So as part of Create Knative service, it is something which we have handled completely into the GUI in the first version, just to get the feel of it, like how it works. So in order to explain, basically what we are trying to do is get the image, whatever is being used from the internal registry, and try to map the specs to the Knative service. So for instance, if you have a HPA, you'll have a min scale, max scale, and other things are like be it environment variables or whatever is there in the container, basically the board spec. So everything can be used in serverless, and we are providing the option as well to user more like to validate what is getting in, because in the form they can see, okay, what is the image, what are the advanced options being used, so they can tweak with it and just create it. And but there is plan to have it completely driven by the APIs. So I think that will be something to have more consistent and in order to support even failovers or graceful rollover, I'll call it, yeah, in future.
Chat is pretty active, but Paul is in chat answering lots of questions. So yeah, Podman support is either just merged or about to merge. By the way, be kind. Yeah, good call, Serena, on that one.
Be kind. You were asking. Be kind has a question that says, "How are these runtimes being packaged?"
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely clear on what they're speaking to as far as runtimes. I know for my code, I've been using still source to image to compile some of the application code and then just deploy it as a Knative service. So it can be pretty simple from the UI, but I'm not entirely sure if that's what you're asking about in terms of runtimes.
Yeah, like which one? Like so many layers.
Yeah,
so
yeah. From my perspective, runtime is which version of Node.js are you using? Are you on the Node v12 or Node v14? That'd be my application runtime. But there's a lot of ways to define runtime.
And serverless functions are using cloud native
Yes.
build packs, if that answers the runtimes question.
And in serverless functions, we have option like you can pass with parameter like -l, as you can see. I mean, it can take like these runtimes, Go, Node, Quarkus, Spring Boot, if it helps.
Awesome.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good feedback. Cheddarmint and B Browning are chiming in chat saying that serverless functions are using cloud native build packs. And that's a good point. So we had a source to image build strategy. A lot of that build process is getting moved into what was Knative build and is now Tekton. Some of that functionality used to be covered by Knative and has been migrated into the Tekton feature set. So that's usually how the build would be run for kind of packaging up your runtime services and making them available on the cluster.
Yeah, sounds like we ought to have someone chat about build packs on here sometime for sure. And it's buildpacks.io is the website if you want to go to. They have a demo like right there, off you go kind of deal. And also to mention, it is also a CNCF project. I forget if it's incubating is what it says. So yeah. I will look. Do you know any idea? Yes, I do. JP Dade hit me up email style.
Great
So,
chat
Ryan,
today.
I was gonna,
Yeah, lots of
yeah,
chat. I'm just
Thanks
I'm
everyone
like
for
lots of chat,
chiming
which
in.
is great.
scrolling back through still. So yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I was wondering, Ryan, do we want to put that survey in that we had in the last couple of weeks? I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
ran it for a few weeks, right?
Sure.
I can
Yeah.
put
Be
that
happy to
in the
post that.
chat.
If you have a
Okay,
link,
that would be
jump
great.
on it. And if
Oh,
not, I'll go
I've
look
got
for
it.
it.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I got it. Yeah. Maybe you can just quickly, we're asking people who haven't already filled it out to fill it out to indicate what they'd like this developer experience office hour to kind of cover, I guess, right?
Yeah, we had a lot
A
of
bunch
great
of different options
suggestions
there.
today. I know there was one on, let's see, what was it called? Fungi, something.
Funky, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that linked to? Did we link to that?
I'm going to scroll back in the chat and see if I could find it.
Yeah. Quarkus.
+1 to Quarkus, Fungi,
Funky,
and OpenShift serverless demo.
Okay. And then, yeah, like always go to learn.openshift.com. And if you want to, this actually, I think you can install the serverless operator in our sandbox now too. Your mileage may vary. It will probably be pretty slow. I'm not sure if it'll actually like fully work, but you can definitely get started with CRC on your local machine at the very least. Cool.
Yeah, the developer sandbox today. Pretty sure there's no serverless on that yet.
There is no, okay. I'm not sure whether like that project is
I could be wrong,
fast.
but I don't think, yeah.
Yeah, I just looked and I didn't see it in there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the learning channel, and you can definitely run this stuff on CRC.
CRC for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And CRC
All
stands
right,
for
so-
code ready containers. Sorry, I'm using vernacular that people might not know. Oh, shocking.
Yeah. I guess we could also point to the Red Hat developer page that, oh, I guess
Definitely.
maybe you've already done that. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
And like I said, there's
All right.
there's 2 Knative books we offer for free. I will redrop those in chat. Knative Cookbook and Knative Patterns. I need to make that Knative Patterns description much shorter, but yes, they are both available for free on the developers.redhat.com site. Just head over to the ebook section if you're navigating along, and there's a link directly to it if you need it. Great, awesome. This has been great. This is a really deep dive. I am now intrigued by Knative more than I was before, so good job on that one, Jay. Do you still need 16 gigs of free memory to run CRC? No, they are actually working on that. We're trying. That's at 12 right now. I think it's going. The next step down is 9, right, Ryan? Oh, yeah.
Not sure. I don't know.
Sure?
I
Okay.
got a super 32 gig machine just so I can run CRC, which I know is not realistic for the general population. But the sandbox definitely does something to kind of help make those environments available. There's definitely limitations on that. You're not admin and you can't load all your operators. But that's part of the trade-off there. CRC does seem to be pretty active. I think they're just about to do a 1.23 release, which I may have the newest version of OpenShift in there.
Cool.
I'm keeping my eye out for that. I saw a beta release, but I don't think it's got an official. We've got it on our internal CI servers, but not out for the public yet.
Yeah. I have the, what is it called? Like Cloud Envy or whatever, where it's like, I have a server in my basement and I run stuff on that. So I have that luxury. So yeah, if you can get you can definitely get your hands dirty on this with CRC, and definitely look at the Knative cookbook that Jay is showing. God, I did it again. Jay is showing on the screen. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. I am cshort@redhat.com, at Chris Short on Twitter. Feel free to hit me up anytime. I can connect you with any of the folks on this call, or otherwise. Like I said, JP Dade has IDM needs, so he has my email and knows where to find me, so I'll get him hooked up in the right place. And if you have questions, I can do the same for you. So thank you, everybody, for showing up today and walking through this. Great job, Jay, as always. Wonderful demonstration, very good deep dive. And thank you all for joining out there and asking your questions. We wouldn't do this without you, so thank you very much. And just a quick heads up on what's next on the channel today at 1 Eastern, 1900 Central European time. Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management presents cluster pool scaling and automated dev clusters, which, if you have to manage dev environments, this is going to be awesome for you. So definitely check that out. Again, that'll be in about an hour. So yeah, stick around or click that subscribe and follow button wherever you may be. With that said, we can safely say goodbye. If you have further questions, again, reach out. Don't be afraid. And thank you, everybody. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. And we'll catch you next time.
See you later. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.